Hey guys, welcome back to a new video, and today we're talking about synthesis. So, we've already talked about earlier in this quarter about the process of analysis, that how we really start to get to those really juicy whys and hows, you've got to start very small. It's like Melinda May eating the whale. First you have to read something, and you can read anything. A book, a person, a billboard, a TV show, food. You read it. You just, what am I taking in from the world? But just because you read something does not mean you comprehend it.
I think of Fun Home. You can read that book again and again and again.
And that doesn't necessarily mean you comprehend it at first blush. So first you read, then you comprehend, and then the next step is you summarize. You distill what it really says down into its like purest idea, its purest form. Reading, comprehending, and then summarize gets us to analysis. Analysis is a big step after the first three. The first three are pretty much just systems of digestion. Can you take in ideas from the outside world? Read. Can you really understand those ideas from the outside world? Comprehend. And lastly, can you really distill those ideas into their purest form? Summarize. After all that digestion of ideas, you start idea generating. Analysis is really the first step in the higher order thinking skills of idea creation. And that's where you start asking why and how about these things in the world. And then you forward your own ideas about it. Synthesis is the next step up past analysis. And we really are getting into like the tippy top tier of higher order thinking skills. It's just idea creation. Analysis is idea creation, and then synthesis is like double analysis. It's analysis squared, or like incestuous analysis, where you lay whys and hows about one text and whys and hows about another text, and then in this interstition, I don't know, the camera middle's here, you get new whys and hows about the world in general. So you create new ideas. So I'm going to show you a little thing I drew because I didn't have a whiteboard.
So as you can see here, you're taking two texts to really explore identity in this essay. Your first text is a character from Fun Home. And as I say on the prompt, this can be Allison, this can be Bruce, this can be Helen. You could do the entire Bechdel family dynamic, or you can do interpersonal relationship identity, like the identity of the relationship between Allison and her father, or Allison and her mother, or Bruce and Helen's dynamic, any of that, any identity in the comic book Fun Home. And you're going to read, comprehend, summarize, and analyze that. That's pretty much what we did with Persepolis and Spider-Man. You take one textual character from the comic book and you get to the point where you are asking whys and hows about that character's identity. But then you're going to look at one of the literary references from the comic book Fun Home. And Allison discusses Proust and Joyce, Greek myth, Albert Camus, Oscar Wilde, Colette, tons of folk. And then you're going to choose one of them and you're going to read, comprehend, summarize, and analyze one of those literary references. Now, slow your roll. You do not need to actually read The Portrait of Dorian Gray or James Joyce's Ulysses. We will be doing some library activities so we can practice using the online databases. And we are not going to actually read those source texts. We're going to find like really fancy Wikipedias, controlled collegiate digital encyclopedias. So you can just read like a 500-word blurb on James Joyce's Ulysses, but it has ethos and it comes from a good source. And then you'll walk through the whole process of analysis and you'll have whys and hows on this second text. But I want to explain that a little bit more. So you can see here in this little grid I've drawn for you, three writers, Joyce, Woolf, and Wilde, reading left to right. Three books by those writers, Ulysses, Orlando, The Portrait of Dorian Gray, and then characters from their oeuvre. And they don't all have to be together, right? But I have that arrow from Joyce. When you choose a literary reference to analyze and then contribute to your exploration of identity, I want you to stick to one person. So you can do Joyce the author, and then you can do really any book Joyce wrote. You can do Ulysses, The Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man, Finnegan's Wake. You can use any of Joyce's characters, Leopold Bloom or Stephen Dedalus. And as long as you stay within the universe of Joyce's brain, you're fine. You can then blend that into Allison or Bruce or Helen. Because all of that came from Joyce's kind of, complex and varied sense of self. Same thing with Woolf. If you're going to use Woolf as your literary reference, stick to everything she wrote, her characters, her novels, her plays. This is what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to say, oh, I'm going to compare Allison and Bruce's relationship as a father and child to a little bit of James Joyce and his personal life to his father, but then also some of the themes that Virginia Woolf really chews on in Orlando about the mutability in gender, and then also the character Mrs. Dalloway about how she felt like she wasn't doing anything, and that's kind of like Bruce. Yeah, that'll be a really good essay. That muddies the pool. Don't blend Woolf's universe with Joyce's universe. Stick to one literary gravity. Joyce, his works, his characters, Woolf, her works, or her characters. Don't cross those lines. Just wanted to show you what not to do. I want you to stay within a literary gravity. So if you want to say, well, I want to compare Bruce Bechdel, who, was a closeted homosexual just like Oscar Wilde, you can then reference Oscar Wilde's life directly. You can reference themes from his novel, The Portrait of Dorian Gray, or you can reference themes from his play, The Importance of Being Earnest. Any of that is fine because it's all related to Oscar Wilde.
And that's where the synthesis comes in. You are creating new ideas into the world, into the community of ideas to share with other people. Synthesis in general is double analysis. You need two texts to synthesize. You, the writer, are forwarding new ideas, but you're bringing them from other ideas. Kind of like green only exists because there is a blue and there is a yellow. After synthesis, the next step is really genesis, where you just create ideas. Maybe you're going to make a movie or write a poem, or just write a novel. You're just going to totally, out of your brain, uninhibited, create an idea. But right now, we're slowing and rolling just on synthesis. You've got this. If you have any questions, make sure you email me, and I can help you better develop your synthesis essay. Hopefully, you're good to go. Rock on.